Good morning, St. John Valley. No way. How we doing? Looks like I might actually be on time this morning. This is Wake Up SJV. I'm your host, Eric Workin. A beautiful Wednesday morning. We're going to listen here to a little bit of Queen. Freddie Mercury doing his thing. 1985 Live Aid. One of their last, if not their last, I believe, performances. How's the volume? Trying to get into Facebook here on the, hold on. There he is. Look at this crowd. Over 100,000 people at Wembley Stadium. Volume probably isn't good for you guys. Coming up today, we have Aroostook County Administrator Ryan Pelletier coming up at 7:20. He is our lone guest today, so no pressure, Ryan. Also wanted to try to devote a little bit more time, to some news and to you, the fans. I know you're out there. Enjoy some more Freddie here and Queen while I look at Facebook. And your question. All right. Good timing. I am able to take some questions now on Facebook. As soon as I kill the music. So just a little overview here. This is, as I said, Wake Up SJV. We're rolling out Monday through Friday on the St. John Valley.live platform. We are going to take a look at their offerings for the rest of the week here momentarily. And we've got some classic videos to show you this morning. You just saw one of them. Incredible. Queen live at Wembley Stadium as part of the 1985 Live Aid lineup. Let's take now, folks, as we finally here are able to be on time. I want to thank Chaz Pelletier and Channel 4 of Channel 4 for all his tutelage, his support. He was our one of our first ever guests on Monday. And the man is always working. He's probably doing something this morning, soup kitchen or live watching the river swell. River is getting high. So just beware that it's coming up, and keep an eye on it. Always interesting to see what levels we'll get to. As I said, Ryan Pelletier coming up in roughly 15 minutes from now. He'll be in here, and we'll be talking about, similar to Mr. Woods, Mr. Darren Woods, who joined us from the emergency agency of the county, also on Monday. Similar line of questions, but a little bit different. We want to get Ryan's perspective on really everything COVID that's going on, and see where we're at here. Want to welcome Norman Martin, who's joining us. How you doing, Norman? And we continue to try. We will get some people in from both. It is Teacher Appreciation Week, so trying to work on some teachers here for Thursday and Friday. We'll bring in some of our educators. We talked to the principal here at Valley Rivers Middle School, Fort Kent Community High School, and Mr. John Coletta was in on Monday, and it's been awesome. I know myself personally, as a phys ed teacher for grades 9 through 12, I've already received a couple of gifts. So cheers to you people, and thank you. A little shout out here to TD Bank. Thank you for your support. It certainly is a challenge that we've all taken upon ourselves, as we are now in remote learning, and it's not easy. It's not easy being a phys ed teacher with no students, but we know you're out there. We know you're staying active, and we love you, kids. And we're also trying to get someone in. We got a few people, got a couple feelers out there, but we really like to talk to the folks up at Northern Maine Medical Center and see how they're doing in light of this pandemic. So we will be bringing in someone from that fine facility. I've got Miss Joanne Fortin working on that. She's the director of communications. So as I said, we are going to check the weather. I tell you right now, just look outside. The sun is shining. It is just beautiful. Look at that. I do want to give, I believe she's sleeping, but I want to give a special happy birthday wish to my daughter, Avery, turning 11 today, the big 1-1. So Avery is 11, and we just can't wait to celebrate that. We're going to make it probably a long, super long weekend birthday celebration. So we're going to check the weather, and then we're going to hit up another video here in the middle of the week. It's hump day. So let's share my screen. Let's get the weather up. A couple of days of rain, and that, that really has got the rivers swollen. Okay, here we are. You see all my tabs. Sorry about that, but hey. So what we're looking at here today, my friends. Boom. Hey, I'm checking in with you for the first time as well. Looks like 34 degrees Fahrenheit currently. It's going to be great for the walk this morning. Look at that. Today, mostly sunny, high of 53. Beautiful. It's going to be short-lived, though. It looks like Thursday's solid, 56. So Thursday will maintain. And then we're going to bring in some garbage here. 50% chance of rain and snow right through the weekend, folks. I'm no meteorologist, as you can tell, but I am an athletic director, and we're always dealing with that. Hey, welcome, Grace Sirwa. Geez, we should bring you in, Grace, as a teacher. Let me know if you'd like to come in here, and we'd love to talk to you this morning. I know it's late notice, but hey, it's what we do. So just send a message here. But she is one of our fine educators over there at Fort Kent Elementary. So anyway, that's a look at it, folks. You know, the good thing is you see the low temperatures hovering in the freezing mark, if not above. So keep that up, Mother Nature, and we will keep rolling. I like this site here. This is National Weather Service. And this one is set for Caribou, but I've got my location, as you see, Fort Kent Village, Frenchville Northern Aroostook Regional Airport. Yes, there is an airport in Frenchville, but no flights going out today. I like this little graph, boom, and you can kind of see hour by hour. Down here is a graph, if you see my arrow, on some levels. Okay, so that's the weather brought to you well by myself. What we're going to do is we're going to check here, and we're going to roll out a classic. Oh, sorry about that. Just a classic video. So bear with me. We'll start it. You know, the high school kids are playing a song. Well, it's probably dated now. The music changes so quickly. But they've been rolling out a song called Roxanne by one of those rappers or R&B or hip hop. I don't know how to classify these days. But this is the original. And I think you guys may know. A classic there. Absolute classic. The Police. You know, their greatest hits album. I don't know if anybody has that, but what an album. Obviously, greatest hits usually is a good album. But that's The Police and Sting. Just good stuff. Just rolled it out there. I want to know, what's your favorite video of all time? I know back in the day, going out on Long Island, where my grandparents lived, out in Wantagh, Long Island, is one of the first times I didn't have cable on the mean streets of Vermont at my house. So MTV rolled out there in Wantagh at the grandparents, and I am going to play momentarily one of my favorite videos of all time, and one of the first ones I saw, as far as I know, on MTV. But just a great video. Thank you, Chaz Pelletier. I guess the volume levels are pretty good. A reminder coming up, the only so far guest today will be Ryan Pelletier, who is the big job here, huge job. He is the Aroostook County Administrator. So we're going to talk to him really about, you know, what everybody wants to know nationwide. You know, Chris Corbett out there in Austin, Texas, wherever you're watching, when are we going to reopen our respective economies? When are we going to get back to restaurants? When can I get on the basketball court and work on my game at age 45? I still got to be able to beat Chris one-on-one. So when's that going to happen, folks? We don't know. It's tough times here, real tough times. But time will tell, and that's why we bring in the experts. Okay, you don't want advice from a phys ed teacher on how that's going to happen, my friends. But we're going to wait and see. And in the meantime, stay home, stay safe. The social distancing is tough, but you really got to do it, folks. You really, when in doubt, stay home. So, as I said, excuse me, this one rolled out. Let's try and get a year on it. Maybe you know out there, but this was one of the first videos back in the day. Like I said, I watched it out in Wantagh, Long Island. Here it is, folks. Maybe you know it. Just a classic. Coming up, Ryan Pelletier in 2 minutes. But we're going to let Dire Straits take over here for a couple of those minutes. Not going to be able to view the whole video, folks. My sound cut out. Okay. Hopefully it's back in. That's the way you do it. Play the guitar on the MTV. That ain't working. That's the way you do it. Money for nothing and it's free. No, that ain't working. That's the way you do it. Let me tell you, damn guys ain't dumb. Maybe get a pistol on your little finger. Get a pistol on your thumb. We got to install microwave ovens. Custom kitchen deliveries. We got some movies, refrigerators. We got some movies, color TV. We got some in-store microwave ovens. We got some custom TVs. Great stuff. Dire Straits. You're gonna have to check the year on that again, but I know it was 80s, kind of when I grew up listening to the great music. We're gonna see if Mr. Ryan Pelletier is ready. We're gonna stop this music. Hey, listen, I appreciate your patience. As you can tell, I'm a little slow with all this. I think I need a sidekick to get this done. Let's see here if we can pull in Ryan. There he is. We will bring him in here momentarily. Good morning, Ryan Pelletier.
Hey, how are you?
Welcome, my friend. You're on Wake Up SJV Live. Looks like you're, goodness gracious, you're I love the background, my friend. Are you trying to stump me? I'm not very good with geography. What is that? I'm going to take a stab at it and say that is, I have no clue. That's not the Golden Gate Bridge, is it, Ryan?
No, I don't think so. It's just one of these uploaded photos from Zoom. One of the things with everybody being, a lot of us working remotely, we've had to learn how to adapt and use distance technology, obviously, and Zoom is a platform that we started using at the county here in the last several weeks. So I've been learning as I go, and one of the things that you can do is upload cool images for background, so you don't see my kitchen cabinets in the background.
I love that. That's another thing I'll have to stumble around with and struggle with, but that is awesome. I saw you hopped on the show here a few minutes early. I was messing around with some classic videos. Do you have a favorite video of all time, or something that comes to mind, Ryan?
A favorite video? You mean like a show, a TV show, or a?
No, MTV, man. Remember back in the day when they actually they didn't show Road Rules or high school drama. They actually showed music videos.
I grew up in St. Francis. We didn't get cable until I think I was 30.
Very well, Ryan. Well, listen, I know you're a busy man, and we've had all kinds of different heroes, what I classify as heroes, trying to get us through this madness of this new reality of COVID-19. And thanks to you, my friend, we did have Mr. Darren Woods on Monday, and he just, I don't know if you saw his interview, but just incredible stuff that he brought to the table for us. So we're going to ask you a similar line of questions. And, I know there's a lot of uncertainty, but if you could just, give us some intel, some background on what's going on and where we're going. But let's start, Ryan. What is your primary role or roles in your current position as county administrator?
Sure. Well, county administrator, the way I like to tell people is it's similar to being a manager, a town manager, just at the more regional level. So we offer a variety of services, some that folks are probably more familiar with than others. My job is to administer those departments that fall under county government. Just to name a few, you mentioned Darren Woods, the Emergency Management Agency Director. Emergency Management is one of those entities under county government. Probably more prevalent in the community is our law enforcement, public safety folks, the sheriff's office, the jail. Those are all county departments. Some of the entities that you're familiar with, but just probably don't associate with county government, are things like the Registry of Deeds. You have one in Fort Kent. We have one in Holton. That's a service of county government, as well as the probate court. We provide the staff for the district attorney's office and the space that obviously we're affiliated closely with the court system. So the district court and the Superior Court, not the district, but the Superior Court buildings in Caribou and Holton are our facilities. And I actually work out of that building in Caribou.
Awesome. Wow. What a job, what a crew. We were talking to some people this week, and we said, a lot of these positions, I think it was Peter Saucier as Director of Transportation Safety here in the district yesterday, but you're only as good as your team. And,
That's right.
You've got a great team throughout the county. I'm a little biased. I'm from Vermont originally, but I think it's one of the best places to live. And especially now in light of everything that's going on. This is not one of the questions, man, but I'm going to put you on the spot because you're talking about law enforcement. Let me give you an example. What happens here in Fort Kent in a lot of these little towns is, kids often congregate at what's called CPL, man, the church parking lot.
Mhm.
Our law enforcement, Ryan, asked to kind of, come by and break those up now with social distancing. I walk by there 2 or 3 times a day with my dog, or my dog walks me, I should say. But anyway, I went by one day and there was 10 vehicles parked. Is that something, I know it's up to the kids and the parents in a lot of respects, right, Ryan? But is that something that law enforcement is at least has their radar on? Or
Yeah, law enforcement has the ability to do that under the executive order, but what I've found, and I can't speak for any of the local police departments, they're autonomous and they do whatever they've decided to do. But at the county level, I know the sheriff, talking to him just the other day, their approach has been not to be heavy-handed at all, more or less do education. If they see something happening that isn't supposed to be, they're going to stop maybe and talk to the folks that are doing that. And, you talked about the kids, but adults are doing it too.
yeah, for sure. You're right.
And so it is just a matter of education and giving people an opportunity to understand why this is being done, and not enforced in the sense of, giving a fine or a ticket or anything like that. Sheriff's office works really closely with the district attorney's office, which would ultimately be the entity that would decide whether to prosecute somebody for violation of any law. And the district attorney has said, they're not going to be bringing people to court over congregating one time. They're going to try to educate folks and let them know why the law or the executive order is what it is right now.
For sure.
We're all hoping that, come June 1, that congregation limit's going to be expanded quite a bit. And I think we might hopefully hear more changes coming before June 1st, as far as some of the other restrictions. So we don't have a direct line into the governor's office per se. We provide, input like anybody else does about what we think should happen or shouldn't happen and when it should happen. But ultimately, we're sitting here every day, just like everybody else, watching the news conferences and
Yeah.
the updates at 2 o'clock, right? To find out what's coming down. So
Yeah, the Dr. Shaw there has become quite a celebrity, and he's very, very intelligent. And I find he's just up front. He's throwing out the science, he's throwing out the numbers, and so we got a good man there.
yeah,
Listen, your response there kind of leads us into our next question. I mean, what the heck can we do, man? What type right now? What type of outdoor recreational activities would you advise that we can do? Look, today's going to be next 2 days, mid 50s, going to be beautiful out. People are going to be out and about. What do you advise people to do of all ages, Ryan?
personally and with my own kids, I try to encourage us to do as much together as a family as we can. So, I haven't heard of any public parks being closed up here yet. I'm hoping that doesn't happen. I know in Southern Maine, I'm hearing that some of the parks are going to be closed. I'm not in favor of that at all. I think people should be able to continue to get out and do things together as a family right now as they can, whether that's playing basketball or going hiking, biking. As soon as the ice lets out, I'm planning on going kayaking. Things
Yeah,
that you can kind of limit contact with other people to some degree. I think again, as we get a little closer to, one of the things about living up here is our spring and summer is delayed a little more than the other parts of the state. So while I think we have a cabin fever mentality right now, it's certainly not as bad because we're more used to having to wait a little bit longer to get out and about when those nice days come. But I think again, if people just are smart about it and don't overdo things and try to limit the amount of people congregating at one time right now and to slow this spread of the disease, I think we'll be fine. And as the days get longer and the temperatures warm up, I think we'll be able to start seeing more and more activities open up for those types of things. At least I'm
yeah. I
hopeful.
mean, you're right. Yeah, it's spot on. We were supposed to open baseball here on Monday against. We were supposed to host Madawaska, and I kind of laughed because I went outside and it was raining, and so we would have been dealing with cancellations and postponements, and trying to get our fields ready. But you're right. We are a little delayed up here with a lot of things. And that's why we're really trying to get someone in from Northern Maine Medical here. We want to ask some questions about testing and how all that stuff's going.
Right.
But it really is quite a thing. Now, Governor Mills has rolled out a 4-phase plan here to reopen the economy. You talked about June 1st a little bit. What do you see? You hear nationwide, like restaurants in Texas, for example, 25%, they're allowing that.
Mhm.
We talked to Peter Saucier yesterday, and he said, well, I don't even know in the fall if we can have, like Benny Netto's bus from way out in Allagash is usually 70 kids. Are we going to be able to do that in the fall? So
Mhm.
I know it's a loaded question, Ryan, but maybe just give your overview, your thoughts on Governor Mills' 4-phase plan and how it applies to Aroostook County.
Yeah. Well, the thing that I tried to keep in mind is, when that plan got rolled out, it's a black and white document, right? And so I think there was a lot of focus on, oh my God, this is what the plan is, and how are we going to survive those kind of stringent requirements of reopening. I really try to look at the glass being half full on a lot of things and try to stay optimistic. I really want to believe that that is a living document that can be adjusted as needed. That's what she said in her press conference when she released that plan. That's what her commissioner of DECD has said, is they are taking feedback from people. The minute that portal opened up that day, I went on that night and I logged in a bunch of comments that I felt were relevant to what I do for work or what government does for work. And I really encourage other industries and other sectors to do that. Provide feedback as to how can we make this work for you and for your business if your business is impacted by this. I'm not in the restaurant business, but I have a hard time to believe that restaurants are going to be able to open up under the restrictions that I've read about, seating capacity and things like that. It really concerns me because you can't expect a restaurant to bring all of its staff back, deal with food orders and all that stuff, and only be able to serve half the number of clients they normally serve. To me, that just doesn't make sense. So I'm hopeful again, maybe this week or soon, I'm really hoping that we hear more direction from the governor on loosening up some of those restrictions when they make sense to do so. I think this can't be just black and white from Kittery to Fort Kent. It is different in our rural counties. We have a less of a population. We have the ability, I think, to provide more outdoor seating opportunities, especially in the summer, where we can spread things out a little bit if that's what's necessary. I'm not trying to say that we need to go back full speed right now. I think there has to be some phase-in approach to some of this, but I do think that there's always a middle ground somewhere. And I'm hopeful that here in the county and in other rural communities across the state, we can find some way to get things opening up a little quicker.
Yeah, that's Ryan, as you know, we have a lot of mom and pops, a lot of small businesses up here. I imagine a lot of these businesses, like I'm right across the street from a nail, the Total Look, which is a hair and nail salon, and it's nice to see. She's been having a lot of activity there as I think that started up Monday, and it's drive up, wait outside, then come in. She kind of ushers people in. I imagine that a lot of small businesses owners already have a gauge on this, but do you have advice for them? I know there's some funding, I believe statewide and certainly nationwide for them.
Mm-hmm.
Could you talk just briefly here on how these small businesses can survive? A restaurant that's just doing takeout, while in the past they may have relied on a lot of sit down. But anyway, how can we keep these great small businesses that fuel our economy and keep us going? How can we keep them alive? And hey, listen, it's always a great night for takeout, right?
Yeah, I mean those that are able to do takeout. I know a lot of them just had to shut down completely because they weren't set up to do that. As far as programs, probably the one that people have heard the most about is the Paycheck Protection Program, PPP. That one is a small business administration program. It is set up as a loan, but if you use at least 75% of the proceeds to make payroll, to pay people to work, even if you're self-employed and you're paying yourself, if you use 75% of the proceeds of that to make payroll, the loan will be forgiven. Essentially, it becomes a grant. That one, you need to apply through a local SBA lender. Those are typically banks or credit unions that are set up to do that. So I encourage people that are interested in that program to reach out to their local financial institution. Unprecedented, but under the Federal CARES Act, Congress passed the ability for people that are self-employed, sole proprietors, independent contractors, people associated with the gig economy, that sort of thing, are now eligible for unemployment insurance. That's brand new. That's never been done. Some real big hiccups in that program, rolling it out, because states administer the unemployment insurance program for workers, employees who get laid off from their job. They were not set up to administer that program. And so it's taken a long time. They just opened up applications on Friday last week. There's been problems I'm aware of. They are working on that. The good news is that once they finally get approved, their unemployment is going to be retroactive back to the date that they had to shut down their business or close. So relief is coming in that way. You mentioned the salon. That situation there is they opened it up May 1st for people who do hair, barbers and cosmetologists, but they aren't allowing certain other salons like nail technicians, um, uh, people that do that kind of work, pedicures, manicures, not to open until June 1st. And then you have tattoo parlors and other places like that that right now are not able to open until July 1st. So there's still a lot of businesses that we don't typically think of that are still under complete closure until that ban is lifted. So those folks are the ones that really need the help the most right now. And my
Yeah.
advice has been, encouraging them to continue to try to contact the unemployment department. The phone lines have been jammed. I know people are having to wait hours to talk to somebody. And I'm really hoping the state can address those issues. We did start a group on Facebook called the Small Business Resource Group, and it's basically open to anybody, but it's really more for the sole proprietors and small businesses that don't have the resources in-house to help navigate some of these programs. And so if anybody out there is listening and hasn't heard of that group, they really should look it up on Facebook. It's a great what I've seen happen is small businesses supporting other small businesses, sharing ideas, sharing things that have worked for them. There's no better teacher sometimes than people in our own profession, right? And so that's kind of the premise behind that group is small business helping small business.
That's awesome. That's great info. Let's change gears here real quick and we'll let you go. But you've got two fine athletes in the family. I believe Carter and Camden, who we've seen. I think they do every sport imaginable.
They do.
Now, do they have a favorite sport?
We have this debate all the time in the house. They both pretty much love basketball. Like
Smart
you said,
boys.
They do. They do play all three. I think if they had to pick one, basketball would be it. Carter is really bummed right now that obviously baseball season is here and there's no play. They're just praying and hoping that soccer will be in full swing in the fall. That's really their focus right now. They've been really good though. I mean, they've learned to be very self-sufficient in individualized sports. So trying to do as much. I'm really happy. They've never golfed before, really, neither, that much, but I'm happy that golf courses will be open. And I think we're going to give that a try. So got to keep moving.
That's awesome. Yeah, I took my girls who are now ages 11 and 13, but I took them to the driving range last year, and Kelly O'Leary, who's our varsity basketball coach and a friend of mine, helped them out there. So I would advise hitting the range first with them before you get out on course. But my girls loved it, just to hit the range and hit some balls. And I couldn't really coach it, but so I used him a little bit.
Yeah.
And but it is one of those lifetime sports that especially now with COVID that we're trying to promote. You know what I mean? So who wins in a game of horse? You got Ryan, Carter, and Camden out.
Certainly not Ryan. I can tell you that right now.
Okay.
Carter is still the leader right now, but the little brother is definitely right on his heels. So Camden told me last night that he wants to get a driver. So and his idea is not to go to the range; it's actually to set it up right on my front lawn and hit him out in the lake. So I don't know if we're going to be able to do that or not, but that's the plan.
That's a good idea. Yeah, that's a good idea too. That's a great idea. I had a couple of college teammates that recommended, and you may want to tell Carter and Camden. I guess they're doing like Google Hangout Horse. So if you got a hoop in the backyard, you get a couple of friends
and people. Cool.
Yeah, or do it through Zoom or whatnot. But that's another way to stay connected with friends.
Yeah,
I know my kids are going crazy because they just can't see friends like they used to. You know what I mean? And
yeah.
So we got to get creative. But
they have been staying in touch with friends, and that's what I love about the Valley. We're kind of spread out, but we're all together. And I hear them chatting with their friends online, and it's kids from Fort Kent, it's kids from Madawaska, it's kids at Wisdom. It's really nice to see the camaraderie. They're all hanging in there together.
Yeah, that is awesome. We talk about, I think it was 1917 was the last time we saw something crazy like this. And you're right, social media has been great, and I've been amazed, Ryan, even before this with the whole Valley Unified push. These kids really are great friends, valley wide, and it's great to see. As athletic director and you as a parent, you've been at events, and these kids are, you can tell they're friends. You got
Yep.
you got wisdom kids, high five and Fort Kent kids right in the middle of competition, and the sportsmanship's been great. And I've seen them hanging out in town, whether it be in Madawaska or here in Fort Kent at various festivals. So
Yep.
yeah, we're all itching to get back to some sort of normalcy. But listen, I
sure.
want to thank you for joining us.
All right.
You need to get outside there. Look behind you. It looks like it's going to be a beautiful day.
Yeah.
Maybe walk across that bridge, get a little exercise.
I actually am headed to work this morning. I'm going into the office to clean up some stuff. So I am getting out
But I know
today.
it was a longer interview, Ryan, and you should be honored. You were the only guest today on Wake Up Saint SJV. But listen, it was great info. We can't thank you enough for being a hero among us, and hang in there, man. Keep fighting the fight.
Thanks, Eric. Take care.
You too. Hey, goodness gracious. Sorry about that. Hopefully you're still with me. That was Ryan Pelletier, County Administrator. And I went to hang up the phone call, and I hung up on all of you, but we are still here for a few more minutes. Was hoping to get some questions. I don't know if the Facebook feed here is not working or whatnot, but great info on what's going on here in light of this pandemic from our county commissioner. What a role he has overseeing a lot of the, as he said, law enforcement, registries, deeds, all that great stuff. Just amazing people that we have working up here in the county. And we can't thank him enough for coming on board. Listen, in sports, last night in a 5-hour game, the Red Sox beat the Yankees. They were down 3-0. So now they stay alive thanks to David Ortiz in the 12th inning with a walk-off dinger, home run. Amazing. Name the year if you could, but wow, what a game. So we'll see if the Red Sox can stay alive. It's 3-1. The mighty Yankees are still in control of that series. We'll see how it shapes out. Let's get a video here. A classic of mine, high school locker room basketball practice. I think this was 1991 or 2 when I first heard this on my teammate Reggie. Reggie played this on his jukebox. You know what a jukebox is, guys? Anyway, this is another classic video. Hey, I'm just going to play it for you, and hopefully you know it and can hear it. Trying to get there. We got all kinds of stuff going on my screen. What a classic. Well, in my opinion, at least. That's Nirvana. Smells Like Teen Spirit. Great album. Back in the day, once again on the mean streets of Vermont, I would listen to that full album, side 1 and 2, on a cassette tape while mowing a lawn. Good money. Just great stuff on my Sony Walkman. Listen, folks, if you're still out there, as usual, I'm struggling with technology. I was trying to get on Facebook here to see if I could field some questions or if anybody's out there. So I'm going to fumble around with that for a second. If you got some time, sure. But it's been great. I want to thank Ryan Pelletier for joining us today. Thursday and Friday, we're looking to get some teachers in here for Teacher Appreciation Week. We're also hoping to line someone up from Northern Maine Medical Center, or quite frankly, any healthcare professional that we could talk to get their perspective on what's going on here with COVID and what we can do here to, reopen stuff and get out there and enjoy this great weather we're going to have in the next couple days. And it's only going to get nicer, folks. I think, as Carl Terrio hinted at, we might be done at least with the skiing and the snowing. Okay, let me see here. I'm freezing up. Nope, I don't want to create a post. So we would love to hear from you here on Wake Up SJV. How we're doing, how my hair looks, what we can do to, I don't want the chat box, people. No, okay. What we can do better, what we can offer you. But Monday through Friday, we're rolling out on various platforms. We're hosted by St. John Valley .live, and then that is connecting to various Facebook pages and whatnot. So it's been quite an education for me. And but usually when you go on these Facebook pages, it'll say live, but I don't see that. So I'm going to play around with this, and we'll get better as we go. We're in it for at least a month, and then we'll take it from there and see if we can keep it going. I hope so. It's been, really think about the guests we've had so far, and it's been great. At this point, I don't know if I'm talking to myself. I'm on Facebook here, and I'm trying to see if this show is live. Usually there's a setting. But great programming, by the way, on Channel 4 and St. John Valley Live. I did want to plug some of that if I could. Let's go to their website and see what's coming up on St. John Valley Live. I see myself here on a delay. We've got about 3 to 4 minutes. Bear with me. St. John Valley Live. Goes out to various Facebook pages. The town of Madawaska Board of Selective meeting rolled out. The GPS of, I can't pronounce it, Agape Christian Fellowship has been broadcasted. So this stuff is archived. DJ Jano Live rolled some stuff out. Another guest we'd love to get on here is Tom Bard of Big Time the Podcast. He would be great to talk to. But check out their website when you get a chance. And I'm going to go fix my hair a little bit here for my next broadcast, which will be the District 27 morning announcements. But it's been real. It's been nice. It hasn't been real nice. Just kidding. Listen, have a great day. Thank you for your patience. Thanks for joining us. If you're watching this archived, well, thanks for doing that too. And we're going to keep working out the bugs here, so to speak. But get outside. Look, do something like this. Mountain biking, walking, hiking. Just get out and breathe the beautiful fresh air. Have a great day. Thanks for joining us on Wake Up SJV.